Hello, everybody. Welcome to Government Secrets. We have a fantastic program for you. Government doing stuff with dolphins. It's going to be great. You're going to learn so much and probably just feel good about yourselves. That's what the show's about. It's like a warm glass of vegan eggnog. You know what I mean? Just making you feel good about being an American. And those of you living in other countries, you don't have to feel so bad about all the awful shit your country's done because we're doing it worse. We have a great show for you today. Holly is our moderator. Holly, we had a lot of trolls last week, so don't be afraid to just start, boom, blocking some fools. Just you have my permission to throw out the hot blocks. Thank you, everybody watching on my YouTube and Lee Camp's YouTube. This is our second week in a row of simulcasting on Lee's YouTube. So welcome everybody. And then everybody watching on Rockfin as well. So say hello, hit the like button, share, subscribe, put this out on your social media. And of course, at the end of the show, Lee and I will do a live Patreon exclusive bonus segments. So you can sign up for that. You can see the scroll below. It's patreon.com/government secrets. And you can, if you're new to Patreon, there's all of the past bonus. There's a bunch of stuff that's only available on Patreon. A bunch of bonus segs, gov seeks, segs, gov seek segs. I'm trying too hard. All right, guys. We got the hair dialed in. The Superman curl is just, there it is. There it is. It's starting to kind of grow into itself. I think sometimes it goes that way, and then sometimes it comes this way. It's hard to know where it's going to go every morning, you guys. I have no control over the curl. It's up to Superman. And Canada is America's obedient little lapdog. Yes. Hello. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Government Secrets with Lee Camp and Graham Elwood, the two most censored comedians in America, episode 106. Wait, there it is. What did I do wrong? Where's Lee? This is kind of shitty when nothing happens. Okay, add to the stream. Oh, is this a tech problem? What a shitty opening. Yeah, it won't. StreamYard will not let Lee come on. Hello?
Ah, hey!
There he is.
There it is.
Welcome.
That was a bit anticlimactic.
It was. I'm going to do the whole opening over.
Boom! Wait, what's going on?
Yeah, it's like bum, 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 and no one shows up on stage. Like, it's like
I thought the curl goes to the right when you're telling the truth and left when you're lying. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess so. So it's going to my, let's see, it's going down this. Oh, so it is going to my left. So I'm lying. All right. I'm lying right now.
By the way, buddy, did you notice that we've had two likely U.S. orchestrated coups in Latin America in 2 days?
I get so excited for that because it's like, it is coup season. Because, well, I actually, on Black Friday, I trampled over some people to buy some discount coups. I mean, they fell down and they weren't moving. I didn't check to see if they were okay because I wanted to, I mean, I was saving like $70, so I didn't give a shit. But so yeah, I got two coups. It was like two coups for $200, and they're normally like $300-400 a piece or something like that.
And the U.S. is dishing them out cheap right now.
So bring us up to speed on these coups. I can't keep track of all of them because
I know it's tough to you really got to have your coup bingo card out and ready to go. Like you have the marker sitting there.
Who's ready for coup bingo on government secrets?
Pedro Castillo, the leftist leader in Peru, has just been impeached by Congress and I believe also arrested, charged with rebellion, apparently Peru has a ridiculous system where if I don't know if they call it Congress, if their Congress or their House or whatever is like over 60% against him, then they can just like take him out of office at any time. Whereas in the US, you can impeach a president and they don't leave. They just keep going. So
Wow.
they voted to take him out. Now he has alienated plenty on the left, but still, this seems very much U.S. orchestrated. This is how the U.S. does it now. Like this is how we took out Imran Khan in Pakistan. We don't do it with the. I was just talking to Ben Norton about this. We don't do it with the guns. We do it with. It's now done with lawyers and putting horse heads in beds of Congress people, and then they vote a certain way. So he was
probably not
out.
a horse head. It's probably like they just buy everybody now. I mean, I'm sure there's some threats if anybody's resistant, but most of the people are just, and most politicians are so easily bought and sold. They don't have any.
Right.
They don't have any honor about anything anyway. So they're just like, yeah, here's $1 million to make sure this guy's not president anymore. You got it. Like they don't care.
Right. So he was taken out. And then also in Argentina, the leftist vice president, Fernandez de Kirchner was Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner. She was taken out similarly, where they brought charges against her for quote unquote corruption, bullshit charges. And then they succeed in getting those through the courts. And she was found guilty, which she's unlikely to ever serve any time for that. However, it means she cannot run for president. And so she's vice president, but the U.S. and the oligarchy of Argentina very much wanted, she was likely going to run for president and win presidency in Argentina soon. And so they figured get rid of her now, make it impossible for her to run. And so she can't run for president now.
You know that this is probably in direct reaction to the fact that there was several like super lefties that got elected in Central and South American countries.
Yep.
So the United States was like, whoa, we got to stop this tidal wave from.
Yeah. Also, they just recently announced that those lefty countries were going to create a Latin American currency that would be used between countries so that they wouldn't be using the dollar between countries.
Yeah. So El Salvador, last year, September of 21, it became official that Bitcoin was their primary currency. Costa Rica has just introduced a bill into its whatever Congress, Senate, Parliament, whatever it's called, to potentially do the same thing as El Salvador. And then you had those countries want to come up with some sort of their own non-dollar currency. When the El Salvador thing happened with Bitcoin, I said, I bet you that is the first domino to fall. And all of these Central and South American countries that are tired of being sanctioned or just completely at the behest of the American empire are going to start going to Bitcoin or something like that. Like what?
Well, they've tried it before. And again, I was talking to Ben Norton about this, and he has an article about the de-dollarization of Latin America and at Multipolarista. And in that article, there's a photo of where they tried it in 2012 and they created a currency. I can't remember the name, but and the photo of like the signing ceremony or whatever is like, it's like Correa, Morales, Chavez, and I'm missing, 2 or 3. I think Lula's in it. And all of them have been couped or killed since that time.
Wow. Sure, it's a coincidence. Just a coincidence.
Total coincidence.
Total coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they all drank from the same bottle of coup that
Courvoisier.
yeah, it was Courvoisier, and it was like
Yeah.
contaminated. So they all were like, "Oh, now I want to be cooed," and they didn't realize it. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that
Yep.
happens like all the time,
Yep.
all the time.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So the question is, do we start with the one that's a lot more fun or the one that is a deeper, darker government secret?
Let's start dark,
Okay.
and then we can bring people around to a fun one. It's creepy fun, but it's still fun.
Fair enough. All right. And this one actually happens to also be this week in government secrets.
Oh,
So this week in 1928, United Fruit, along with the Colombian government, United Fruit, now better known as Chiquita, massacred 1,000 workers. So let's get into the details.
wait, what year was this?
1928.
All right, so was Smedley Butler still? Was this one of his things that he was involved with?
This very well, yeah. He did. I know in his famous quote, he said, "I made such and such safe for the United Fruit Boys." So he definitely worked for United. Not he didn't work for United Fruit, but as a Marine, worked for United Fruit. But
Right.
I don't know if is referencing this specific massacre.
Yeah, I made it safe for the Banana Boys, and
Yeah, exactly. But very well might be. So, if you can show that image. So this is a great article it's called Visualizing the Americas.utm.u Toronto. So by University of Toronto. But anyway, this photo, which was eventually, it seems, stolen from the United Fruit Company files, is of the 5 organizers of the strikers at the United Fruit factory.
Oh.
And we'll come back to that photo in a bit. But all right, so and this is also where I've referenced this before. This is where the term the banana republics comes from.
Right.
When people say it's a banana republic, what they mean is it's owned by a corporation. It's a fake. There's a fake government in place, not real, and that comes from United Fruit basically running these various governments. So the model of banana republics was challenged most forcefully by organized labor. While politicians, merchants, and multinational corporations often made patriotic noises, saying they didn't want to be a banana republic. I'm sure plenty of politicians got elected in Latin America by saying we're not going to be a banana republic anymore. And then they either got an offer they couldn't refuse, or they just simply couldn't fight hard enough against U.S. and United Fruit interests. But it was the banana workers themselves who actually demanded that the foreign companies respect the laws of the countries in which they were operating. On the evening of October 5th, 1928, the delegates for Colombia's banana workers in Magdalena gathered to discuss their grievances. Among their concerns was their long hours and low pay. Shocking, right?
Right. They're always bitching about the same stuff.
First, who would have thought in 1928 in Colombia that United Fruit was making them work long hours?
Oh.
One worker, Aristides Lopez Royano, remembered, "We worked from 6 in the morning until 11, and then from 1 in the afternoon until 6. The contractor paid that," and I think he means probably 7 days a week. "The contractor paid the salary and reserved up to 30% for himself." So they do this work for a certain pay, but 30% goes to the contractor. At around 5 in the morning on October 6, 1928, the workers issued the United Fruit Company a list of 9 demands. On the first day of the strike, the commander of and I don't know what those were, but obviously shorter hours and more pay and not paying the contractor all their money and everything.
Yeah. Not paying basically a mob guy for juice on the, VIG or whatever. Like, it's just the balls of these guys. It's unreal. Like, the balls of them, they just, their first instinct is, well, we get people to do this cheap labor for it and we'll screw them over And like nowhere in there is, but we need happy employees. Like that's not even anywhere in their equation. It's just like,
No, not just happy, but nowhere in their equation is that these people are even minutely human beings.
no, not at all. They're just like, well, we can't do slaves anymore because the hippies got rid of that. So
They're
now we got to pay them something.
Yeah,
Like,
they're just sacks of flesh that seem to sometimes deliver the bananas that we need. So,
sacks of flesh.
On the first day of the strike, the commander of the Colombian Armed Forces. I love that in the first day of the strike, the Colombian Armed Forces are already there. Like,
Yep.
Step
Locked and
one, get the
loaded.
armed forces involved. The commander of the armed forces appointed General Carlos Cortez Vargas as the military chief of Santa Marta and the Banana Zone. It was called the Banana Zone. By the second day, Cortez Vargas was in Ciénaga with a battalion. The strike lasted 2 months, during which time the workers briefly established popular sovereignty, deciding how best to organize themselves. So this was a pretty significant strike that was having a major impact. The striking workers tested the United Fruit Company's, again, this is now called Chiquita, banana, United Fruit Company's ability to continue to exert power through its ad hoc network of corporations, missionaries, and mercenaries backed by the military and diplomatic power of the U.S. government. So, the United Fruit, as a lot of companies do now, like Walmart will do, Amazon will do, is they say, we contract that labor out. Oh, Nestle did it with their child labor in like Ivory Coast and stuff. We contract that stuff out. We don't even know what goes on down there. So if you see any child labor, who can say?
Who can say? I love it. They just always put it again, like the mob. Like the mob boss, I didn't order anybody to get killed. I just said, gee, that one guy is being kind of a problem. And then if one of my lieutenants took it on his own volition to go whack the guy, I can't control everybody. I'm not a magician.
All I said was that someone should take him to the train station. They happened to think that meant whack him. All I said was he should get a look at the bottom of the Hudson.
He likes swimming. That's all I said, which I assumed he loved swimming, and suddenly,
all I said was fit him with a new pair of shoes.
That's it.
That's all I said.
A guy needs new shoes. We all need new shoes. I didn't know they were going to make them cement and they was going to stay at the bottom. I didn't know. Nobody said this to me.
Right. On December 5th, the workers received news that the governor of Magdalena had summoned them to Ciénaga to settle the strike. They began to gather there by the thousands. I love, what makes this even more dastardly is they didn't just show up and start shooting strikers. They summoned them somewhere to pretend like they were going to work with them on settling this dispute.
Pure evil. Like, let's have them come in just guys mind coming in this field where there's a fence around it with guard towers that point everything, bunch of guns pointing down at you. Do you guys mind just meeting there? Is that cool?
That's what they turned Occupy Wall Street in New York, because I was there on the first night, and then after the first couple of weeks or a month went on, they didn't want to, they had arrested tons of people, but they didn't want to say you can't congregate in this square, right? Because it's public property. So what they did was they put fences around the entire thing. And there was a little space to get in about that wide. If you sucked in your belly, you could shimmy in. So basically you had to decide in order to be in the square where Occupy Wall Street was happening, you had to decide to be inside a fenced in pen. And then they had police surveillance things that are up in the sky. So it's like 2 stories up. There's spotlights and police surveillance. So it was enjoy your time in the public square.
Wow. Jesus.
So let's see. Just before midnight, General Cortez Vargas received a telegram containing Decree Number 1, the government's official declaration of a state of siege in the Banana Zone. And again, then if you really want to get into what was the U.S. government's influence in all this, well, who issued this Decree Number 1? It seems like at that time, with Colombia being a banana republic, that it probably wasn't just Colombia themselves. They probably had people at United Fruit, people at the U.S. government saying, this is how you need to deal with this. That night, the military opened fire on the assembly workers and their families at the train station in Ciénaga. They, and so the general who tried to defend himself in his memoir said, in the last minute before we fired, we shouted, "People disperse, we will open fire. We will give you the remaining minute." And after that minute was gone, they started firing.
Wow. So that's how these evil assholes justify what they did. We told them to disperse.
Right.
And people are like, huh? What? Disperse? What do you now? You got 57, 56, 55. Just and they expected everybody to just run out of there. And then they opened fire on them.
Cops will do this too. Not in the US, rarely do they use live ammunition, but they'll use tear gas, they'll use rubber bullets. Rubber bullets could kill someone hypothetically, but can easily knock out an eye and cause severe damage. I know someone who had her hip broken by the cops and they'll do the same thing. They'll say, if you're still here in, 60 seconds, you'll be subject to arrest or whatever. And then they just open fire with all these, what they call less than lethal munitions that sometimes do kill people.
Yeah. Right. They show up wanting to shoot this stuff. And, and I'm sure these soldiers in Colombia, said they were just like itching for this. And in 1928, how loud and articulated was the announcement? Like,
what kind of high-tech amp system did they have?
Somebody in the back just heard, what did he say? And they just started shooting.
If you're still here in 1 minute, we will be.
That was it. That's what they did. And then they opened fire on families as well.
So the people of the Banana Zone insisted the military killed hundreds of strikers that night. And you'll see that that's in a moment that's likely true. When daylight broke, according to official memory, just 9 bodies still laid in the plaza. One of the workers noted that the military had deliberately left 9 corpses as a sign of the 9 demands that the workers made.
Oh, Jesus.
So if they're just choosing to leave 9 bodies, that clearly far more than 9 were killed.
Wow.
After the massacre, many workers fled, seeking refuge in the mountains, but others stayed and sought to avenge the killing of their companions. Meanwhile, the Colombian military and the United Fruit Company, Chiquita, did not let up on their persecution of the workers. 6 weeks later, the U.S. Embassy in Bogota reported that this is now a quote from the U.S. Embassy saying the total number of strikers killed by the Colombian military exceeded 1,000.
God.
So, and I feel like this is the point where, like, and for me too, it's like, it's not just that this happened. It's not just that, God, those were insane times. It's not just, God, why did Colombia let themselves be run by fucking a fruit company that could get whatever the fuck they want? It's not just all that. It's like, where has this history been? Why are we never told any of this? I mean, you know why, but we're never told any of this. You never learned this growing up. Our government not only, at the very least, encouraged, I mean, they might have stage managed this whole thing, but let's just say encouraged, we're fine with, our corporations using other countries to just massacre workers who had demands like not paying 30% of their wages to their contractor.
Yeah, again, it's always like they just want something reasonable, like the rail strike that Biden and the Democrats just crushed. They wanted paid sick leave. That's what they were. That was their big demand. And people are asking like they wanted, $500 an hour or something like that. Like these shithead lawyers get. Like, I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. And the other thing too, talking about why didn't we hear about this? I want to include Hollywood in this. This sounds like a very compelling story for a movie, wouldn't you think? But Hollywood, as we've shown on this show, is part of the propaganda machine, right? So Hollywood will do, historical dramas, but it's usually about some, righting some wrong that's helping sort of push American exceptionalism or like, it's usually some like, there's a new movie out about a black fighter pilot in Korea, and he was the first ever fighter pilot. And I'm sure it's a compelling story. It's based on a true story, but it's always this like, and now that doesn't happen anymore because we have diversity and inclusion and it's all fine and well and good. You know what I mean? It's like that's how they always do it. And it's also like, are there no stories for black people that are contemporary anymore? Like everything's got to be from then. And then if we are going to do all these period pieces, why can't we tell this story? Why can't we let Americans know how corporations have used the American military for the better part of 150 years now to kill innocent people that just want, there's not a lot of labor stories. There's not a lot of
very few
movies made about how the labor movement was crushed. Not a lot of those stories are done because corporations today, again, would gladly kill 1,000 workers if they could. They just don't know that if they might not be able to get away with it. So they'll just whatever.
Right.
They'll just push everybody into the streets and then force them to riot. And then the media will go, oh, it was a peaceful protest until the agitators showed up. You mean the cops, those agitators? It's
the guys dressed like stormtroopers pointing guns at people. Yeah,
this has been going on for a long time, and Hollywood is very complicit in its deliberate non-covering of stories like this.
No, there's a reason these stories aren't told. So after the military opened fire, the workers destroyed several of the United Fruit Company buildings, including the engineers' quarters in Sevilla. While we do not have photographs of the strike or the massacre, the official archive of the United Fruit Company at Harvard University extensively documents the destruction that the workers wreaked upon the company's stores, living quarters, bodegas, and telephone lines. Basically, we're just going to document the response from the workers who had many of their friends and family members killed by United Fruit Company.
It's the same thing they do today with the George Floyd protests. It was like, look at all the rioting that they did. Why were they rioting? Who instigated the riot? It's never like, yeah, they were mad because the cops were killing unarmed black men. And it was a peaceful protest until the cops showed up. And then everyone's mad at the rioters because I saw the media do this in Santa Monica, where I was at the protest. I saw looting and stuff 4 blocks from my house, which I wasn't happy about. I didn't like, but I saw a cop car almost run me over and get on the microphone and go, get the fuck out of the way. I saw the cops instigate this protest. And did people come to Santa Monica deliberately to like steal stuff? Yeah, they did. Absolutely. Did the media talk about the economic inequities that created a situation where people would want to do that? No.
Right.
Did they talk about how, I mean, this is Santa Monica, but this was consistent throughout Los Angeles. LAPD gets 54% of the city's operating budget. I'm sure the city of Santa Monica had up armored vehicles and all this. Like they never cover it. They always, and this just proves they've been covering it the same way. Oh, these labor agitators were looting and rioting. Yeah, because you killed 1,000 of their friends and family. That's maybe why they got mad. I don't know. Like, I don't see how this gets rectified without the left getting super brutal. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Well, part of it is you've got to keep informing people. I mean, it gets rectified with the type of work that you and I do, which is informing people as to what's actually going on. But yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back to if you can show that photo again. So let's see. The photo encapsulates the way the five labor organizers, well, it encapsulates the five labor organizers. So that's them. And the Colombian military killed one of the workers, jailed another for 14 years, and tried to kill at least two of the others. And you can see on the surface of the image, because again, this image was stolen from United Fruit Company's, or United Fruit Company at Harvard University, their official archive.
Mhm.
So this is an internal United Fruit Company, aka Chiquita, photo. So on the surface of the image, someone has labeled each one of the workers and wrote the word "out" over two of them, over the one that was in prison for 14 years and the one that was killed.
Wow.
So basically, this is a hit list. This is like, whoever, I don't know who they're speaking to when they deliver this photo, but it's like, hey, look, we've gotten rid of this guy, we've gotten rid of this guy, we're working on the other three.
Wow.
And in the memorandum, oh yeah, and this is great because it has their terminology, how internal at United Fruit they would have spoken to each other. In the memorandum, dated 1929, it says the attached photograph shows 5 of the principal leaders in the recent disturbances.
Oh God, I hate it when they sanitize murder.
I know, totally.
It's disturbances. It's like when our military says, unintended targets, just some line item terminology for murder. Like, ugh.
So and I want to give their, well, I'll do that in a minute. Give their names, because obviously that's important. These guys are fucking heroes and really incredible what they attempted to do. And but so the memorandum continues. Number 1 was a secretary to Mahecha, the leader, and is now serving a term of 14 years in prison in the federal penitentiary in Tunga. Number 5 was killed in the fighting at Sevilla. And, that likely means assassinated. I doubt he was actually killed in fighting. But number 2 and 3 were simple laborers and were practically only figureheads in the organization. So whoever's delivering this memo is like, you know what? Don't even worry about 2 or 3. They're not a big deal. Number 4 was the brains of the entire outfit and is one of the most dangerous communistic leaders in this country. He fomented the oil field strike in 1924, and last year was the leader of a bad strike in the coffee region. He came to Sayanaga about August of 1928 and immediately started fomenting the movement. So basically, this guy's a labor organizer, and they're like, he's a dirty communist organizer. But at the end, it says, since then he's disappeared completely, and it's now reported in the press that he's escaped to Costa Rica. So they can't find him. But this is a hit list. This is like taking out union organizers and worker organizers.
God.
And anyway, I think this article sums it up pretty beautifully. Retrieving this photo from a violence that is preserved in the archive allows us to rescue the history that put these workers, Raul Eduardo Mahecha, Nicanor Serrano, Bernardino Guerrero, Pedro Del Rio, and Erasmo Coronel at the center of a struggle over local and national sovereignty that exposed the violence exercised by the United Fruit Company and the governments of Colombia and the United States. The photo allows us to hear what the company tried to silence, to see what the company sought to keep invisible. Reclaiming this photo allows us to tell a story of worker-driven self and national forging that Banana Progress tried to obliterate. So, it's always nice to at least be able to say the names of the people that fucking died for these fights for worker dignity and freedom and respect and everything else.
I'd like to know what the worker conditions in Colombia now are for this.
Totally wonderful. They work 2 days a week and they each get jet ski.
Yeah, and they all make $100,000 a year. It's great. Everybody's doing great. Everybody's doing great.
By the way, Colombia continues to be the #1 country for murdering of environmental activists.
Oh, that's cool. I mean,
but the U.S. until recently, because I think now don't they have a left-wing leader? Until recently, the U.S. has always loved them. Didn't matter how much deforestation, destruction they were wreaking, how much drugs, how much killing, assassinations of environmental workers and union organizers and shit. The U.S. was big fan of Colombia, big fan.
Yeah, I mean, we'd send some, DEA agents down there to kind of stir up a drug cartel, probably because they were trying to circumvent the CIA's drug business or something like that.
Right.
But typically we let them slide.
All right, so there it is. Government secret #1.
Government secrets segment #1, a very positive one. Let's do government secrets segment #2. This is one of, this goes under our, we cover several, we talk about awful stuff that's happened in the United States, like the segment we just did. We've talked about CIA operations. But one of the things we like discussing is complete ridiculous wastes of taxpayer dollars for insane, like,
I will acknowledge this one's a bit of a stretch for a government secret, but it's so much fun. I feel like it has to be done.
It involves the government. So it's like a NASA fund. This is a NASA funded research project. So there we go.
Oh, I forgot it was NASA.
Yeah, it's NASA funded research project. So there we go. It falls under our purview. And this is when I say this idea, all right, I'll just say it. So this is the head of the article, how a science experiment led to a sexual encounters between a woman and a dolphin. Yeah.
By the way, I will say that was also my 36th birthday.
This is like when they're doing superhero movie plots and somebody comes up with a crazy idea for a supervillain. They're like, no, this is too nuts. Like, this nobody wants to see this. This is too creepy. But no, there's a new documentary tells the story of how Margaret Howe Lavatt, who in the 1960s took part in a NASA-funded research project in which she developed an unusual relationship with a dolphin named Peter.
Okay, first of all, does his name have to be Peter?
I know. It's the name of the documentary. Now, this is again where they like to hide things. The name of the documentary is The Girl Who Talked to Dolphins. I think she did a little bit more than talking, fellas. Let's call it what it is. This is a creep. This is a sex creep. This is who this woman is. She this was a relationship that at times became sexual. And this is the woman who's the journalist who wrote this article. This is in The Atlantic. The emotional attachment between humans and animals is well documented. Like any animal and human who spend long amounts of time together, a dolphin trainer could say they love their dolphin, but this does not excuse nor open the door for zoophilia or delphinophilia, words I was not aware of until this article, I must say.
I thought delphinophilia was jacking off a guy named Delfino, who actually coached my high school football team.
Delphinophobia sounds like some sort of new age band in like 1961 or 2 or something like that.
Delfino did philia if you were on his football team.
So this is something that I applaud this journalist for wanting to make this very clear in the second paragraph of the story. She says, quote, "While I am a dolphin enthusiast, I am also a firm believer that humans and dolphins should not have sex." Now,
That sounds like someone who has no sense of humor who's like, "Well, I support dolphins, but that does not mean I believe in human dolphin coitus."
I don't know. Maybe they don't have a sense of humor. I get it as like, we are living in such an insane world. That sentence should not have to be written, but the fact that it does have to be written tells you how insane this world, especially America, is. And that Nassau probably was like, hey, the lady's having sex with her. Maybe we could use this against the Soviets or something like that. You know,
Dude, how about we send this dolphin over to the USSR?
Yes.
And all the guys are dying to get in this dolphin's pants. It'll distract them from the war at hand.
What we do, we send a bunch of sex crazed dolphins and they just fuck the shit out of a Soviet submarine so it can't shoot rockets at us. How about that? We pump these dolphins full of dolphin Viagra and just have them go hog wild on a Soviet nuclear sub.
They go pedo on the torpedoes is what they do.
Just 50 dolphins just gangbanging a Soviet sub, just fucking working it. So again, anyone in the 60s who was having problems with there wasn't enough housing or work or there was poverty. I know there was poverty. There was definitely poverty in America in the 60s because this is a capitalist country. So you can't have capitalism without poverty. So
yeah,
just know you could.
So maybe you're saying maybe the dolphin was low on funds and needed the money.
Yeah, so NASA was basically a dolphin pimp. So investigating the case of Margaret Howell Levatt and Peter the dolphin, it was a relationship that started out of a logistical problem. In 1964, Levatt was working on an experiment to try to teach Peter how to communicate with humans. A dolphin to human translator is still in the works today.
Here's the thing. If a woman does the nasty with a dolphin, you don't need a translator. You know what the dolphin was thinking. I don't know if you know what the woman was thinking, but
yeah, that's what we really need to find out. What the hell was this woman thinking? Like, how crazy? And was the dolphin? Wait, do we know what the dolphin think, or was the dolphin like, man, this is some crazy pussy?
I don't know. I can't speak for the dolphin. I can't.
I until we get the dolphin translator, I'm just guessing here at this point. This lady is crazy, and I'm sorry. You know, I like pets. My mom had a border collie when I was in college in my 20s. It was great. But when I see people who are like, and it seems like more women are like, this is my dog, this is my baby. When they refer to their dog as their baby, I'm like, so that dog came out of your vagina? I always have to ask that question. And there's a precedent for this craziness, as we're learning here from this article.
And they're like, no, but it has been there.
I know. It's like, that is a level of creep that is beyond. So this woman literally moved in with him for 3 months, sleeping next to the tank and working on a desk that hung over the water where he swam.
So so I just want to clarify that the study had to do with what would happen if a woman like lived with a dolphin. So I don't know what specifically they were trying to find out, but so they created like a house that was like up to her, thigh or waist in water, so that the dolphin could come and go as it pleased. And basically like she would sit there in water and the dolphin would live with her. And so that part was part of the study. Then it kind of went rogue.
Yeah, it was Barbie's dolphin dream house. That's what it was. So they spent a great deal of time together. and Peter was a sexually maturing adolescent dolphin. He often had sexual urges at inconvenient times.
Hold on. Isn't that true for every man?
Sure. But again, this is when even an adult in your own species shouldn't be having sex with you, let alone
True.
like
you're like
15. If you're a 15-year-old boy and a 30-year-old woman has sex with you, that's still rape, just like if a 30-year-old man did it to a 15-year-old woman. It's double fucked super creep if it's a goddamn dolphin and a human. So
I would not call this pedophilia, though. It's not, the age difference is not what bothers me.
Yeah, the age difference is really low on the list of things that are fucked up about this story. For sure. I agree with you on
when
that.
When people saw these two together, I don't think their first question was like,
he's
isn't
too
that
young.
Weird with the age difference? Like, how do they have the same cultural references, or?
He's really not going to get her Elvis Presley references. He's just not.
No,
he's not going to get them.
He doesn't get them, and she doesn't get his Mr. Rogers and Zoobly Zoo references.
Yeah. No, I agree, Lee. That's really low on the list of problems here. Is the age gap is really. I think you bring up a valid point here, friend.
People don't see this couple and they go, look, she's a 6 and he's a 9. Why are they together? They're just not in the same realm.
I mean, she's kind of cute, but he's a slick, hot, strong dolphin. What is he doing? He's trying to tell me there's no other. Is it just like, and is he going around like, look, you date a dolphin chick. They're fucking nuts. I don't need to deal with it. Like, I can't. These dolphin women are out of their minds. They're too controlling. They're swimming in pods. I don't need it. I just don't. This chick lives outside of my pool, so I don't have to like see her every day. It's perfect for me. As it turns out, now this is going to sound shockingly. This is some of the research that the data that came out of the research. As it turns out, it's very difficult to teach a dolphin to talk when he's aroused.
Dude, that's so true for a man as well. That is so true for a man.
It's weird.
Women have so much trouble teaching us to talk when we're hard.
I know. It's weird. It's like when someone's going down on me and they're asking me really serious questions, I just can't answer them very well. It's weird. I'm sure this is only true for men because, like, yeah, if you just arouse a woman, she'll be able to rattle off all kinds of answers, right? It's not just a human thing.
No. It's just men and dolphins.
The woman Levat found that Peter would quote, rub himself on my knee, my foot, or my hand. She allowed it.
Wait, his name's Peter and her name is Lovett?
Marie, what's her full name? That's her last name. It's Margaret Howe Lovett.
Her name is Lovett and his name is Peter. This doesn't bother anyone else.
Again, Lee, the name thing is a little low on the list of problems with this relation. Like I get it.
But I think she loves the Peter, is what I'm saying.
Yes, and this next quote from this filthy creep lady, she allowed it, quote, I wasn't uncomfortable. Listen to this, Nick. This is her quote. This is how nuts this fucking lady is. I wasn't uncomfortable as long as it wasn't too rough.
Listen, as long as you don't fuck my leg too hard while we're working, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, as long as it's not too rough. Yeah, wild animal. That's a different species, that this goes against every law of nature and God and humanity. Yeah, don't be too rough with me. It was just easier to incorporate and let it happen. It was very precious and very gentle. How fucking dumb are you? He knew that I was right there. Yeah,
I bet he did. He was humping you.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a dog trainer being like, look, I've been working with your dog and it's easier to just complete the sex with him, and then we're able to get to teaching him to shake hands.
Yeah. Just let him keep going on your leg, and then then he'll do the shake hands and say his name or whatever.
Good news, he now knows how to beg. Bad news,
you gotta really go the distance with him. You gotta hit. You gotta touch all four bases.
He's gonna expect something after he begs. Listen, you asked me to teach him to beg. You didn't say you weren't willing to do certain things.
Did NASA like see this coming and go, we need to find a certain type of lady? Like, there's a woman out there that can't get a date with a man for any reason? So to satisfy Peter's increasing sexual urges, he would be transported to another pool with 2 female dolphins. This was a logistical nightmare, and it disrupted his communication lessons constantly.
Right. You know what? It's just easier to jack off my dolphin than bother with the other thing.
Just jack off the dolphin, then we can get back to the speech. If we got to ship him over to the lady dolphins, then they're going to have this crazy dolphin orgy, and then he's too tired to talk, and then they're ordering Thai food or whatever. Like, we need to get. Eventually, Lovett took it upon herself to relieve Peter of his urges, rather than going through the long, inconvenient process of transporting him. It would just become part of what was going on, like an itch. Just get rid of that scratch and we would be done and move on.
Man, wouldn't it be great if this was how every teacher in college had dealt with my urges?
It's unreal.
Man, I had a TA I worked with once, and if she had been like, listen, if it's just an itch that you got to deal with, fine.
I'm in the grocery store. We got a long checkout line. Would you mind just scratching this itch, and then we'll get to the whole checkout thing? This is unreal. So, now it's not letting me load the article. Oh, whatever. So let me hold on a sec. Let me wait, let me get to here. It is. You might not know this, but sexual acts between dolphins and humans have a history. Malcolm Brenner wrote the book Wet Goddess about his 9-month-long relationship with a dolphin.
Okay, but he is saying up front, I am a maniac who has a lot of issues, whereas I feel like the researcher, is trying to say, oh no, this was a great and perfectly done research.
Right, yeah, she's totally nuts in denial. She's just like, no, I was just helping the research. And as long as he didn't get too rough, like, you sound crazy. And did she have any friends in her life that were like, yo, Margaret, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, what are you doing?
I think, look, Graham, it's a well-known fact that if you're jacking off a dolphin, you have no friends. Well known.
This NASA study should really be like, let's get into the psychosis of a nutburger who just how they think this is okay. The crazy thing is here, the relationship between Lovett and Peter was certainly unnatural, but not unheard of. And this is the author puts this in there. Still, I urge you to stay away from dolphins in a sexual capacity.
Oh, thanks. Good call.
I was on the fence, really on the fence here, but thank you for pushing me over. Even if you believe they turn into handsome men at night. Now, this is a rumor that comes out of the Amazon. This is an old folklore thing that comes out of so in the Amazon, they have these pink dolphins, and there's a myth that they turn into men with red scarves and they impregnate women. So clearly this is like a story women came up with who were cheating on their husbands and got pregnant from another man and went, oh, a dolphin did it. You know, like it's really just like, it is just a crazy, that's where that story comes from. When I was in the Amazon in Manaus, they told me that story. And the first thing I thought of was, oh, these are very shrewd women that just like, let me create some bullshit folklore so I can justify getting knocked up by another dude. And then, so then there's like some festival and where men will wear red scarves and, you know, like they're just like, whatever. So.
Where men will wear red scarves and the women will fuck dolphins, and it's a good time.
It's a fun time. It's a festival. There's really good food. Yeah. So that's basically that's it. The documentary, and the result of the research apparently was they couldn't figure out how to communicate with dolphins. Other than they liked being jerked off, I guess.
They figured out one form of communication with dolphins.
And there's nothing in this article that I could find that says this woman spent the rest of her life in a mental institution or prison or something like that, or where she should.
Prison might be a bit rough, but considering what our factory farms do to fucking animals, I feel like then all of them should be in prison. But
that's true. I mean, you and I are both vegetarians for that reason, but also I just feel like.
Whereas I feel like this dolphin is consenting.
My issue is I don't think this woman should be intermingling with members of society. I think she really needs to be sequestered on some weird creep island or something. But yeah, I'd love to know where she ended up. But that's the end of the NASA-funded dolphin sex story, government secrets.
And that may be one of the weirdest ones we've ever done.
I want to say yes.
We're headed over to patreon.com/government secrets, and we're going to talk about government secrets connected to John Lennon, connected to the Israeli army, and possibly, if we have time, connected to Metallica.
Oh, yeah. Off to government secrets land. Right? Isn't that one of their songs? I don't know Metallica very well.
I think you were in the right realm, yeah.
All right, folks. And just, I know any of you that are fans of the NFL, you're never going to watch highlights of the Miami Dolphins the same way again. That I can assure you. Think of that. All right, folks. Yeah, go to patreon.com/government secrets. And please, if you are watching on either one of our YouTube channels and you haven't subscribed to the other guy, please do. Hit the subscribe button for Lee's YouTube page. Hit the subscribe button for my YouTube page. I have a new YouTube channel called Graham Elwood Clips, where I just show short 60-second clips from this show and 2-3-minute clips from my other show, Political Vigilante. And I just trying to get that subscriber count to over 1,000. I'm at like a couple hundred right now, because then I can monetize that channel, since my regular channel that you're watching on right now is completely demonetized. So check that out, folks.
So yeah, patreon.com/government secrets. We're headed over there right now. And you can also subscribe to me at leecamp.net and get all of my stuff.
Yes. Go to both of our websites, subscribe to our stuff. I have a newsletter. And I'll be announcing when my comedy special is going to be coming out at some point, beginning part of next year. So that has been Government Secrets, episode 106, Banana Murder and Dolphin Sex.
All right. See you in 5 minutes.
All right, buddy. See you over there, everybody. Real quick, Alfred Das Leby. Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for supporting it. Rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Woohoo, caught it live using my VPN and work Wi-Fi. Right around. Talk about a fish out of water story. Yeah, old episodes of Flipper will never be the same. All right, folks. Hit the like button. Right on. We had a nice We had a nice little viewing here, everybody. Thank you, Holly, our moderator. Thank you, everybody in the chat watching on Lee's channel and on my channel. Subscribe to both of our channels, everybody. That really helps us in the analytics, the liking and the sharing and the subscribing and the hitting the bell notification button. That all helps. And of course, you can sign up for free at rockfin.com. And if you sign up for the $10 premium, you get Lee's content, my content, and everybody else's. All right, everybody. We will see you over at patreon.com/government secrets. Thanks, everybody.